testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Let the record show that the witness answered in the affirmative. Our only witness today is Mr. Sundar Pichai. Mr. Pichai is the Chief Executive Officer of Google. Your written statement will be entered into the record in its entirety, and we ask that you summarize your testimony in 5 minutes. To help you stay within that time, there's a timing light on your table. When the light switches from green to yellow, you have 1 minute to conclude your testimony. When the light turns red, it signals your 5 minutes have expired. Mr. Pichai, you are very welcome, and you may begin.
Chairman Goodlatte, Ranking Member Nadler, distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I joined Google 15 years ago and have been privileged to serve as CEO for the past 3 years. But my love for information and technology began long before that. It's been 25 years since I made the US my home. Growing up in India, I have distinct memories of when my family got its first phone and its first television. Each new technology made a profound difference in our lives. Getting the phone meant I could call ahead to the hospital to check that the blood results were in instead of taking a 2-hour trip there. And the television, well, it only had one channel, but I couldn't have been more thrilled by its arrival. Those experiences made me a technology optimist, and I remain one today. Not only because I believe in technology, but because I believe in people and their ability to use technology to improve their lives. I'm incredibly proud of what Google does to empower people around the world, especially here in the US. I'd like to take a moment to share a bit of background on that. 20 years ago, 2 students, one from Michigan and one from Maryland, came together at Stanford with a big idea: to provide users with access to the world's information. That mission still drives everything we do, whether that's saving you a few minutes on your morning commute or helping doctors detect disease and save lives. Today, Google is more than a search engine. We are a global company that's committed to building products for everyone. That means working with many industries, from education and healthcare to manufacturing and entertainment. Even as we expand into new markets, we never forget our American roots. It's no coincidence that a company dedicated to free flow of information was founded right here in the US. As an American company, we cherish the values and freedoms that have allowed us to grow and serve so many users. And I'm proud to say we do, and we will continue to work with the government to keep our country safe and secure. Over the years, our footprint has expanded far beyond California to states such as Texas, Virginia, Oklahoma, and Alabama. Today in the US, we are growing faster outside of the Bay Area than within it. I've had the great opportunity to travel across the country and see all the places that are powering our digital economy, from Clarksville to Pittsburgh to San Diego, where we recently launched a partnership with the USO to help veterans and military families. Along the way, I've met many people who depend on Google to learn new skills, find jobs, or new businesses. Over the past year, we have supported more than 1.5 million American businesses. And over the past 3 years, we have made direct contributions of $150 billion to the US economy, added more than 24,000 employees, and paid over $43 billion to our US partners across Search, YouTube, and Android. These investments strengthen our communities and support thousands of American jobs. They also allow us to provide great services to our users to help them through the day. It's an honor to play this role in people's lives. And it's one we know comes with great responsibility. Protecting the privacy and security of our users has long been an essential part of our mission. We've invested an enormous amount of work over the years to bring choice, transparency, and control to our users. These values are built into every product we make. We recognize the important role of governments, including this committee, in setting rules for the development and use of technology. To that end, we support federal privacy legislation and proposed a legislative framework for privacy earlier this year. Users look to us to provide accurate, trusted information, and we work hard to ensure the integrity of our products. We have put a number of checks and balances in place to ensure they continue to live up to our standards. I lead this company without political bias and work to ensure that our products continue to operate that way. To do otherwise would be against our core principles and our business interests. We are a company that provides platforms for diverse perspectives and opinions, and there is no shortage of them amongst our employees. Some Googlers are former servicemen and women who have risked much in defense of their country. Some are civil libertarians who fiercely defend freedom of expression. Some are parents who worry about the role technology plays in our households. Some, like me, are immigrants who are profoundly grateful to the freedoms and opportunities it offers. And some of us are many of these things. Let me close by saying that leading Google has been the greatest professional honor of my life. It's a challenging moment for our industry, but I'm privileged to be here. I greatly appreciate you letting me share the story of Google and our work to build products worthy of the trust users place in us. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you. We'll now proceed under the 5-minute rule with questions, and I'll begin by recognizing myself. Mr. Pichai, is it true that the Android operating system sends Google information every few minutes detailing the exact location of a smartphone within a few feet, the speed of movement of the phone, the altitude of the phone sufficient to determine what floor of a building the phone is on, the temperature surrounding the phone, and other readings? And if so, with Americans carrying their phones with them virtually at all times, doesn't the collection of this volume of detailed information really mean that Google is compiling information about virtually every movement an individual with a smartphone is making every hour of every day?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for that question. Today, for any service we provide our users, we go to great lengths to protect their privacy, and we give them transparency, choice, and control. Android is a powerful platform and provides smartphone for over 2 billion people. And as part of that, it depends on the applications users choose to use. If you're using a fitness application, which is detecting the number of steps you walk, you expect it to send that information. But it's a choice users make. We make it clear, and it depends on the use cases.
So the answer to my question, my first question, is yes. Is that correct, that the information that I cited is gathered by Google? For Google services, you have a choice of what information is collected, and we make it transparent. I understand there are uses that consumers make use of. I use it to keep track of the number of steps I walk. I understand that service that one of your competitors provides, so I understand that purpose. But do you think the average consumer understands that Google will collect this volume of detailed information when they click through the terms of service agreements in order to use the Android operating system?
It's really important for us that, that average users are able to understand it. This is why we do something called privacy checkup.
I think average users read the terms of service and the updates that are very frequently sent to us?
Beyond the terms of service, we remind users to do a privacy checkup, and we make it very obvious. Every month, in fact, in the last 28 days, 160 million users went to their My Account settings, where they can clearly see what information we have. We actually show it back to them, and we give clear toggles by category where they can decide whether that information is collected, stored, or more importantly, if they decide to stop using it, we work hard to make it possible for users to take their data with them if they choose to use another service.
Let me switch to the issue of Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. You heard me say in my opening statement that this provides broad liability protections for you and other technology companies for good faith restrictions that when Google thinks something is obscene, lewd, lascivious, filthy, excessively violent, harassing, or otherwise objectionable. On the other hand, objectionable material, by whatever standard applied, likely elicits the most engagement from users on your site. And for Google, increased engagement potentially means increased revenue. However, it is important for Google to make very clear where it draws the line, and I don't believe Google has done its best to make that clear. So what I would ask is the following. Would Google or YouTube be willing to make changes in support of a healthier civic dialogue if doing so meant a drop in user engagement metrics?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. We have a long track record of, we've always focused on long-term goals towards user satisfaction. We focus on their knowledge, happiness, success, and that's what we work hard to create. It is important to us that platforms like YouTube are viable over the long run. It's in our natural incentive to do so. YouTube is a place where users, advertisers, and content creators who make their livelihoods use the platform. And so we want to make this work in a sustainable way.
When it comes to political advertising, as you know, some of your competitors in other advertising media are required by law to offer the same rate, the lowest rate, as a matter of fact, to all political candidates. So, for example, that's true in television and radio. Would Google, should competing political candidates be charged the same effective ad rates to reach prospective voters?
Our advertising products are built without any bias, and the rates are competitive, set by a live auction process. So depending on the keywords for which you're bidding for, depending on the demand there is in the auction, the prices are automatically calculated. So, the system decides that based on supply and demand. I understand it's automatically calculated, but could two competing political candidates targeting the same audience see different ad rates? And if yes, could that disparity be substantial? There wouldn't be a difference based on, any political reasons unless there are keywords which are of particular interest and the market determines it. So it's essentially a supply-demand equilibrium. It can lead to difference in rates, but it will vary from time to time.
Can those rates be very substantial in difference?
There could be occasions where, yes, there could be difference in rates. Yeah, I haven't looked at the specifics of it. Yeah.
So the result is different than in other markets like television or radio, where every candidate is entitled to the lowest rate that television station or radio station offers to any political candidate for office.
There could be variations based on the time of the day, the keywords you're choosing to go for, the geographies you're advertising in. But it's decided by the system, and it's a process we have done for over 20 years. And let me assure you, anything to do with our civic process, we make sure we do so in a nonpartisan way, and it's really important for us.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Pichai. According to media reports, Google found evidence that, let me go to the other one first. Google found a bug in its Google Plus social media platform that could have potentially exposed the private data of up to 500,000 users without the consent to third-party developers. Google, however, did not disclose this bug until months later after it was revealed by a report in the Wall Street Journal. Yesterday, as I mentioned before, you announced another bug. What legal obligations is the company under to disclose data exposures that do not involve sensitive financial information, but still involve private personal data like a user's name, age, email address, or phone number?
Congressman, we take privacy seriously. The bugs you mentioned are bugs. We found them by either doing an audit or using our automated testing systems. Whenever we find any bugs, we follow, it gets escalated to our Privacy and Data Protection Office, and we comply with.
All right, I'm not criticizing what you do. I'm asking what legal obligation is the company under to disclose such data exposures that don't involve financial information but still involve other personal information?
It depends on the situation. We follow the requirements, and in that case, in the first case, typically we look at our legal requirements, but we go above and beyond to make sure we do the right thing for our users. In the first case, both there was no evidence data was misused, and we couldn't accurately
I understand all that, but my question is, what legal obligations are there?
Today, right now, if you've found a bug, and you've ascertained, once you've done the investigation and you've ascertained the users who are eligible for notification, my understanding is you have 72 hours, and we both notify users as well as regulators in that time frame.
Okay, thank you. Now, according to media reports, Google found evidence that Russian agents spent thousands of dollars to purchase ads on its advertising platforms that span multiple Google products as part of the Russian agents' campaign to interfere in the election 2 years ago. Additionally, Juniper Downs, head of global policy for YouTube, testified in July that YouTube had identified and shut down multiple channels containing thousands of videos associated with the Russian misinformation campaign. Does Google now know the full extent to which its online platforms were exploited by Russian actors in the election 2 years ago?
We have, we undertook a very thorough investigation, and in 2016, we now know that there were 2 main ad accounts linked to Russia, which advertised on Google for about $4,700 in advertising. We also found other limited...
Total of $4,700?
That's right. Which was, no amount is okay here, but, we found limited activity, improper activity. We have learned a lot from that, and we've, dramatically increased the protections we have around our election offerings. Leading up to the current elections, we again found limited activity, both from the Internet Research Agency in Russia, as well as accounts linked to Iran.
And what specific steps have you taken, including during the recent 2018 elections, to protect against further interference by Russia or other hostile foreign powers?
We have undertaken a significant review of how ads are bought. We look for the origin of these accounts. We share and collaborate with law enforcement, other technology companies, and we essentially are investing a lot of effort and oversight in this area.
And looking ahead to the next Congress, I assume we can have your assurances that Google will work with this committee as we examine the issue of how to better secure our elections from future foreign interference?
Congressman, protecting our elections is foundational to our democracy, and you have my full commitment that we'll do that.
Okay, my last question, because time is running out. What are you doing, what is Google doing to combat the spread of white supremacy and right-wing extremism across YouTube?
Congressman, YouTube is an important platform. We do want to allow for diverse perspectives and opinions, but we have rules of the road. We have clear content policies, and we have policies against many categories, and we are transparent about these policies. And, and when we find violations on our policies, we do remove those videos and handle content.
When you find violations, you what?
Of our policy. For example, we have policies against hate speech, and we clearly define them. And if we find any violations there, we do take down content.
When you take down the content, do you note who put it up so you can flag future content from the same sources?
We look at it on a video-by-video basis. To the extent there are repeat offenses from a same account, we do take into account, and we notify the content creator, and we follow up accordingly.
Thank you very much. I yield back.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Smith, for 5 minutes.
All right, you have been listening to the testimony on Capitol Hill.